Good afternoon, everybody. Today is September 24th. Yes, key date, September 24th. Andrew and I are doing a podcast today. There is so much to talk about with regards to precious metals. And so I really am curious as to what Andrew's hearing on the back channels with precious metals. So, Andrew, welcome back. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bo. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a very, very busy week. It's been fun to talk about gold being at an all-time high almost every day lately, and silver being at a 14-year high constantly, and blowing past $44 an ounce at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm seeing on the charts right now is literally on Rosh Hashanah. So in other words, this week, September, past 2 days, what we're seeing right now is literally a breakout of silver. And I wanted to show you this. Check this out, actually. So have a look at this chart right here, and you'll see something fascinating happening. So this is literally a chart going back to 1950. We see the two spikes. And you'll see the support here. It's hit one, two, and then three. So there are three strikes on this bottom support channel. We run it up to the top, you run it across, and look what happened right here. It literally broke through, and it's through the channel. There it is. It's through it. So breakout would have been, particularly the actual breakout point would have been $43.20. And right now, as we're speaking, it's $43.80. So it's through a massive cup and handle chart pattern that goes back to 1950. Think about this. So why I'm saying all this is, again, you said gold's on all-time highs. Yes. Bitcoin's over 100,000. We've talked about this in the last show, how in the 70s, there wasn't $1 billion, and yet silver happened to go up to $49 in the late 70s, early 80s. And then in 2011, same thing happened. Silver jumped up to $49. And by this time in 2011, we were in the financials of trillions of dollars. And now we're in the quadrillions when you throw in the derivative contracts. And still, silver is still under $49. It's not even through 50. Andrew, talk about the commodities. And, why would Bitcoin be $100,000+? Why is gold at all-time highs? And why is silver not on all-time highs? In other words, what's the next thing to blow vertical?
Well, silver's the last one out of the gate. I'm stealing your line. That's what you've always said, and that's what we're seeing here. That's why silver's going straight up. I did a little bit of analysis, and you can back it up on your chart as well. I wanted to compare the run that silver did in 2011 to the run that we're seeing in 2025. So January 3rd of 2011, silver was $30.68. That's what it closed at that day. The first day of 2011, $30.68. By the close of April 28th, 2011, which is only 4 months later, just under 4 months, silver hit $48.46 an ounce. So that's almost an $18 gain in just under 4 months. That's a pretty great gain. Now you compare that to 2025. We started January 1st of this year at $28.84 an ounce, and it's up over $15 an ounce right now. So this is it's taken a little bit longer. It feels like it has more holding power, if you will, this time. When it goes up, $18 in 4 months, you wonder, is this a bubble? Could it come right back down? And eventually it did after JP Morgan sold millions and millions and millions worth of ounces of silver to really bring the market back down. But I don't see that happening this time. It's taken a lot longer to get to where it is, and it feels more sustainable. It feels like we're going to really blow past 50. And there's nobody out there saying otherwise.
Well, you're making a very interesting point here. If you can see the chart I did, but I actually drew this pattern out. This is the 2011 spike you're speaking of right here. If you can see that.
Yeah.
And so you see this, the price went like $49 and change, but you'll see it's that we had a 5 wave count and then the explosion. So the bottom of the fifth came in 2010. And that price came in like at $15, and then it exploded at 50. Okay, so now we've got a similar identical wave count 1 through 5, and so 5 came in here. that ran up to $50, and that happened in a year in April of 2010, and that was at 15. And so now Waypoint 5 is at $29, $30. So it's double. So we've just broken through it. So we haven't even seen. In other words, if you compare it to 2011, we're only about right here.
Yeah.
So we're only at about $25 right now. If this were, so in other words, it's the chart is saying it's easily going to double, which means to take 40, double that. You're looking at 70. Like what was the magic? We've always talked about 68 to $70. Well, if you double that, that puts you at an immediate target at around $70, based on the historic cycle of what happened specifically if 2011. So history is about to replay itself. We've only seen the start of this, but this is the wild part. Because what happened in 2011, JP Morgan smashed it down when it came to $49. What happened in 1980? Again, the banks smashed it down with the Hunt brother rally. Okay. Why? Because their only goal is to keep precious metals low in value and allow their financial system, their printing of money out of thin air, to keep going up, 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 and up. And again, go back to listen to our prior podcast, but Andrew did an incredible job of talking about the money supply. Like, this is insane. 100 years to make a first $1 billion. And now we're in the quadrillions when it comes to derivative contracts. That's like adding how many, 10 zeros to the digits. The amount of money supply, and then the fact that they're trying to hold down God's money when they lose control. So this is the prophecy. Silver's about to go through $50. We could see it here this week yet. Okay, it could be next week, but it's like imminent, because it's when it starts to go, as Andrew said before, it accelerates extremely quickly. So once it breaks out and there's a $50 becomes like a magnet, it actually sucks it up. It doesn't actually work its way up to 50. It just gets sucked up to 50. This time, as Andrews and I both truly believe, it's going to go right through it. And once it takes out $50, the prophecy goes like this. That's not the explosion. Think about that for a minute. So the explosion comes after $50. What does that mean? But that's the prophecy. So all I know is God's about to take down the bankers. And we've said numerous times that this is related directly to silver. Silver is going to be the one thing that they've been fighting forever to never let it go above $50. And we're about to see an act of God, which is going to take it through $50. And so whatever else you want to add, add more, with regards, your comments or your opinions on silver, Andrew. And then furthermore, let us know in terms of, because I find this fascinating that the price is rising like this. And are you seeing more sellers or more buyers right now? Maybe expand about that as well, too.
Well, since the start, actually, going back to when Trump officially won the election last year, we did see a sell-off, and a lot of people at that point did put money into Bitcoin, and it was their first time for many people. And then Bitcoin went and hit record highs, and many of those people have since cashed out, and now they're moving back into gold and silver. And I'm seeing people really pour into silver very heavily. And I'll just tell you that we've been we're still buying a lot of silver from different wholesalers, and I'm starting to see the premiums of what it costs above spot start to go up a little bit. That means that the demand that the wholesalers are seeing is greater than the supply that they have. And the way that they're able to continue to be in business is by raising their prices as the demand gets stronger, like any other business out there. And I'm starting to see that for the first time since before last November. And that's probably going to continue. One thing that happens with silver is people get this herd mentality. When they start to see that it's moving, and I've seen this back in 2011, and I've heard similar stories going back to 1980, when silver moves like this, people will do anything to get their hands on it. They're selling their stocks, they're selling extra property they have, and we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of really big deals. We're seeing people that are paying to have it stored at our third-party depository where it's fully insured. And people really should reach out, because $100 silver is going to happen. We don't know when silver is going to be $100 for 1 ounce, but it's definitely coming. And I just want to comment, Bo, on something that you'd said. I love it when people get an investment right. Like, I remember when I first bought NVIDIA, it was like $40 a share. This is before it had ever split. And after a while, it had gone up to like a couple $100 a share. And all of a sudden, if it's having a good day, it could go up like $5 a share. Well, when you bought it at 40, that's like a 12.5% return from your initial investment in a single day. I compare that to you, who had been buying silver for a long time, stacking it. I remember you placed an order November 2022. Silver was $18.50 an ounce. The premiums of what it cost to get a 1 ounce silver eagle were just completely the highest we've ever seen. You weren't even touching that. You said, I want to get 1 ounce silver Philharmonics coins. The premium was almost nothing at that point, and it's still an ounce of silver. But you got silver at $18.50 an ounce. Here we are sitting at just under $44 an ounce. Soon, we're going to start to see silver pop for $2 on any day that it has a big up day. When that happens, a person that bought in at $18.50 an ounce, they're seeing 10% gains on a single day on a regular basis. Eventually, as you said, when silver gets to 50, it's going to really accelerate after that toward 100. We might see days when silver's up $5, $6, $7, maybe even $10 an ounce. Look at what that does for the people that got in at like 1850. That's an enormous gain against their initial investment. So I just, what I'm trying to say is that when you invest in something, when you truly believe in it, and when you're thinking long term, and when needs arise and you're not thinking about cashing that investment out to jump into whatever the next hottest thing is, you can do very, very well. And I talk to clients that have done that through us with purchases that they've made by following this show and listening to us. And congratulations to them, but it's far from over.
And that's the beautiful part of what you're saying. Precious metals are precious for a reason. They're someone gave them the name precious. It's not just a random name, it's precious. You give certain things in life a name if it's precious. And God in Haggai 2 verse 8 specifically references that metal. He actually references silver first. He goes, this Haggai 2 verse 8 says, the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. Scripture. Now, the wild part about that entire scripture is it says, it continues on. It starts off with, I will once again shake the heavens and the earth. That's Haggai 2 verse 6. So in other words, that basically means God's about to intervene and do something. That starts at Haggai 6. You get to Haggai 7, it talks about silver and gold. Haggai 8, silver and gold. Haggai 9, 2 verse 9 talks about the latter house being greater. So in other words, his glory is going to fill the earth. And then he also references, this is the wild part, okay? So in that prophecy, I got to share this, in that prophecy that's written in Haggai, it actually references today. Andrew, it states on the 24th day of the 9th month. Today. It says, from this day forward, I will bless you. So what a coincidence that as we're speaking today, silver is just getting ready to break out. It's just broke through $43. It's almost at 44, going to 45. It's going to go crazy here really soon. And like you said, anybody who's listened to us over the past 5 years, even if they didn't buy it at $18, okay, most were buying silver through our pod. If they've reached out to you via our podcast the past 2-3 years, right? Most were buying maybe 20, 24. Like forever, it was under $30. Like for 2 years. It was under $30. It just recently went through 30 and then, going to accelerate over into the 40s. And finally, on Labor Day weekend, went through just literally 24 days ago, went through $40. Okay, so most were buying silver at an incredible position still. And even right now, okay, I'm telling you, it's not my opinion. Go listen to the prophets. Okay, the prophets are real. They're all echoing a similar message. numerous prophets, and I know you've been on many podcasts, Andrew, and you've heard many people speak about what is called a wealth transfer. Okay, what is a wealth transfer? It directly relates to God intervening and transferring wealth. In other words, Proverbs 13:22, the wealth of the sinner is stored up for the righteous. Okay, so yes, $44 on silver right now. Yeah, it's moved up since 20. Okay, it's doubled, a little bit more than double, but yet it's not at $100. It hasn't even broken through 50 yet. And very simply, okay, Bitcoin, it's over $100,000. Okay, let's just look at gold right now, the other precious metal. In 2011, with Andrew referenced, it went through a $2,050. So the top came in right around just over $2,000. That's correct, right, Andrew? Just over 200,000. And then it crashed. And at that time, right around that time point, silver hit $49. Why I reference this because all these other things are on new all-time highs. Gold right now is what is it? 36, almost $3,700, between 36 and 3,700 right now. Okay, so it's through 2,000. Like it's $1,700 above $2,000, and yet silver right now is still not through $50, not even through $49 yet. Okay, so silver is going to take out and make new all-time highs because Bitcoin has, because gold has, and they've just been doing everything possible to not let silver break free, but it is going to. And when it goes, it's going to be, like Andrew said, people are going to be doing everything, maybe describe that again, but people are going to be doing everything possible to get their hands on silver when this event goes down. A manic silver market is the greatest thing to watch. Explain that, Andrew, because you've lived through what happened, I think, at least in 2011. That was historic watching what was going on.
Oh yeah. So back in 2011, just buying and selling silver was such a big deal. Like it was very, very difficult to get in any form. It doesn't matter if it's 100-ounce silver bars, 1-ounce silver eagles, or 90% silver, which are the bags of junk silver, the pre-1965 half dollars, quarters, and dimes. I mean, really, there were people at the brick and mortar coin shops all around the country that were lined up around the properties, sometimes wrapped around almost 360 degrees, and some were there to sell and some were there to buy. And it was just an incredible thing to watch. There's some of the wholesalers that we work with still have brick and mortar shops, and we would see that on a regular basis. Like the mania is something that's that you don't see with gold, and you don't see with Bitcoin, and you don't see with other things. So that's definitely coming, that herd mentality. And when that happens, when I talk with other coin dealers about it, they'll say, this is when you reach into the little corners of your safe that you never dig that far back in, and you just pull out anything. It doesn't matter if it's 80% Canadian silver dollars. It doesn't matter if the old Mexican pesos that are silver. People just want to get any form of silver that they can get, and they should. But right now, the beauty of it is that you have your choice. You can get American silver coins. You can get excellent, beautiful foreign government silver coins like the ones that Bo bought at the end of 2022 from Austria. The beautiful Philharmonics coin, and everything is still available. We're shipping within about 24 to 48 hours of cleared payment, and we're still able to get IRAs converted to hold gold and silver. What I like about that option is a lot of people out there have built a lot of wealth in their retirement accounts. Some people have hundreds of thousands of dollars in there that they're willing to convert into gold and silver. And I'm not suggesting that that's all that we're looking for. But the point is that let's say you had $200,000 or $300,000 in your retirement account and you converted that into a precious metals IRA. Let's say that you went 50% gold and 50% silver, and you had, say, 300,000 in there. $150,000 is a lot of silver. That's more than most people could store at their home because it actually takes up quite a bit of space. It can fill up an entire gun safe, to give you an idea of how much space that could take. And some people are fine with that. They can have one at their office just completely loaded up with silver, one at their home. But when you do it with your retirement account, you're not storing that at home because you're not allowed to touch it. If you take delivery of it, then it's a distribution and you're taxed on it. If you don't take delivery of it and you store it at a depository, like 100% of our clients do, then it's not a taxable event. So I think that that if you're not drawing into your retirement account regularly, like if you're not pulling money out of it, then why not load it up with silver and let it sit there until you are ready to draw out of it? Because chances are you could build a significant amount of wealth in that time. And we have people that are doing it. We've called people recently that have done extremely well with gold. And I'm talking about people that set up precious metals IRAs with us in 2021, 2022, and in the first half of 2023. These people that have started with two or $300,000, many of them are up like 50 to 75%. And now they're converting some of that gold into silver. And they have a good chance to really compound the profits that they've already made. Best part, they're not paying any taxes on it yet because they're not drawing on it. It's the beauty of doing it in a retirement account. But you should reach out to us because it's far from too late. So if you reach out to us on bh-pm.com, and right there on the homepage, there's a form. Go ahead and fill out that form. Put in your name, email address, phone number, and under the how you heard about us part, put Gold 2020 forecast or Bo sent me or Bo Polny. But it's the notes and questions section that's most important. So we have different team members that specialize in different parts of what we do. So if you have questions or would like to roll over part of your retirement account or all of it into a precious metals IRA, then state that in the notes section so I can get you to our IRA team. They're the best in the business, and our response time is usually within about 24 hours. If you reach out to us, say at nighttime on a Friday night, don't be surprised if you don't hear from us until Monday, but we do have staff here on the weekend that are making calls. So if you need a quick call, if you have a certain schedule of when you're typically available, put that in the notes section. If you're a complete newbie and would like to, and you have a lot of questions and want to block out a chunk of time to be able to have those questions answered, put that in the notes section. Really, the most detailed that you can be is how we can help you the best. But right now, our lead time as far as getting back to you is usually within 24 hours. So definitely reach out before we start to see this blow vertical, because once we do that, there's going to be this herd mentality. And just reach out to us because it is far from too late. That's the biggest question people are asking me right now. I get texts and emails all the time. You're so excited that gold and silver are doing as well as they have. I never got into it. Is it too late for me? No, it's not. It's just you got to get over that psychological hump and just invest in gold and silver, not based on where it is now, but based on where you think it's headed. I think we're looking at $4,000 gold for 1 ounce, 5,000 in the next couple of years. I think that we're looking at $50 to $100 an ounce silver sometime in the next year. And look around, do your due diligence. A lot of people out there believe it. A lot of people that know these markets really well can give you many, many reasons why that's going to happen. It's just not going to happen today, but it will happen soon.
I want to also bring up one thing you just mentioned. In 2011, okay, I was watching this stuff because I was already in the precious metal market in 2010, watching the ride up in 2011. I'm telling you, I would go to a shop. I didn't know Andrew at the time, but I would go to a shop in Los Angeles, man. I would have to stand outside for like 30 minutes just to get into the shop to see what they've got available, because it was like the whole counter was just, they had a glass counter. Everything was empty. It might be like a couple pieces. Oh, somebody just brought something in, so they put it there. It was the wildest thing to have ever seen. So my question to everybody, when you say, is it too late? Okay, go to the mall today, or maybe go back in your memory when you went to the mall just a few days ago or last weekend, a month ago. You go to some of these higher end stores, and what do you see? What have they started creating lines? You got to stand outside of lines to get in some of these boutiques, to buy a purse and all this crazy stuff going on. Okay, this is just all psyop. Okay, like they're messing with your mind. But understand, in a silver bull market, that's exactly what's going to happen at these gold shops. And this is going to be the real deal, where people literally will be with hordes of money trying to get into these shops to get silver, particularly because it hasn't happened yet. Gold's not causing it yet. This only happens on a silver fury. Okay, when silver goes, you're going to see these shops just like all over the nation just have lines to get in, and then there'll be some people with some bars of silver. They're going to take it in to sell it, and there'll be people in the parking lot trying to like, hey, I'll buy that from you. Like, you haven't seen anything yet. Andrew, expand upon what happens in the parking lot on these silver furies. It's crazy, and it's coming. Like, you haven't seen it yet, so is it too late? No, because silver's not done that yet. We don't have people lined up outside of gold shops, literally trying to sell to in line, and also try to get into that store to see what they got.
Yeah, it's so much fun to talk about. So I started working at a coin shop in 1985 when I was 15 years old. And all I ever heard about is what happened in 1979 and 1980. I heard about just people lining up all the way around the shops, people just waiting, people trying to buy any silver that they could get. And then finally in 2011, I got to see something very similar. And it's exactly like Bo just described. And at that time, I was just starting to ramp up what we were doing. And I too used to go to a brick and mortar coin place here in Los Angeles, which also is a wholesaler. And I could bypass the line every single day, but the line was about 50 or 100 people around many times. And it was the people in the back of the line knew that by the time they got to the front of the line, that the inventory that the shop has is all going to be gone. And as Bo said, there's going to be new inventory. So maybe somebody in that line had a bag of 90% silver, or somebody had a box of silver eagles and they wanted to sell those. And the shop would say, okay, hold on. And then they just hurry up and go through the tubes, count everything real quick, run the 90% silver through the coin counter, and they'd sell it on the spot. Some people would try to do deals with other people that were in the line. And I don't know if that's smart or not, because if you don't know how to tell if they're counterfeit or not, it's you could get stuck with something from some scammer. So you're almost better waiting to see what's available when you get into the shop. We had security out there that would have to watch and make sure that there was nothing crazy going on out there. Yep. And it's so funny that you made the comparison with what's happened with the higher end shops like the ones they have on Rodeo Drive here. Before COVID, you could walk into places like Hermes and Cartier and Dior and buy anything you wanted. They loaded people up in there. The shops we could be packed in there like sardines. And it was because of the idea that if we were in close proximity to each other, that we could pass COVID to people that are standing near us, that it became okay for us to now be rationed as far as how we can go into these shops. And it's so funny because we're not in that situation anymore, but it's continued because it's sort of what you see on the old movies with the nightclubs. People only want to go in the nightclub that has a line out in front, not the one to walk right into. And that's not what happens with gold and silver. They're taking advantage of something that happens for real in the gold and silver market, which means like, yeah, you better get in line because there might not be anything for you when you get in here. So the urgency for everyone here is that it's real. For us, I make the same on every transaction. So if you wait until silver is $50 or $60 or until lines are wrapping around, or if it's $100 an ounce or $250, it's all the same to me. But what makes me feel good is when a client calls in and I just decide to look at what they paid for the product that they've previously bought, and I see how much money they're up. It's amazing. It really is. It's just amazing to me because there were so many years where we sold silver and we told people that where silver had been, where it could go, but we didn't have good reasons to say why it could get there. Only that silver will go up one day. Just believe that it will. And then people would have an emergency 3 years later. They'd sell silver. They'd sell it for like 5 or 10% less than what they paid for it because silver didn't do anything in that time frame because silver was so heavily manipulated. But those days are gone. Silver is manipulated still, but not to the degree that we saw before. Bo was the first person I heard say that the people that are keeping silver, that the banks that are keeping silver where it's at, eventually they will lose control and silver is gonna just erupt and have its actual value, and that will become the norm. And we're in the process of that happening. So It's definitely reach out to us. We can help a lot of people. If even if you hate the idea of owning physical metals because you can't see what the values of everything are in your account right on your cell phone, just do it anyway. Get a small percentage of your net worth, and you won't be sorry. Just hold it for a long time.
I'll just finish on. When I was a little child, I was a kid. I was born. It was 1980, and I remember what got me into all of this because I'm but what is going on here? I remember my mother and father. We lived in Canada. They went to the Royal Bank, or is it Bank of Montreal, whatever it was. They were literally lined up buying gold, particularly gold and silver, and there was massive lines to get into the bank. That's where you would buy it in the 70s or late 70s, early 80s, and because it was just a fury of people freaking out because they're panicked about the financial system. That's what happened. And then literally, as I grew older, I got to witness in 2011 the same thing. The same thing. People lined up. And this is the real deal. This is not people like going to buy a purse. No, no. These are people like worried about their finances. They're not worried about buying a purse, okay? Some overpriced purse. No, no. They were in line because they were freaked out in 2011 and 1980 because they were freaking out about what the heck is going on in the financial system. It's a real deal. This is what happened. Okay. That's why silver was exploding. Okay. Because there was all this crazy stuff going off in the 80s and again in 2011. So again, we're in a moment in time. Look what's going on in the world right now. Okay. And so we're at a very critical mass right here. And I'm telling you that today's the 24th. From this day forward, I will bless you. We've just seen silver, breaking through $44. Something's about to blow here. Again, no one knows a day or the hour it's going to go, but I'm telling you, we do not have weeks. Absolutely not. This thing's ready to go. And the numbers Andrew gave you, fully agree. Andrew's job is to be very conservative. But even those conservative numbers are awesome. Awesome numbers, okay? I'm just thinking it's going to happen quicker, but even if it doesn't, those are awesome numbers that Andrew just gave you. And the last thing I'll finish with is just the ratios, okay? Understand on both those bull markets in 1980 and in 2011, the ratio hit roughly 30, I think it went to 30-1. Right now, the ratio is like 80. So what I'm trying to tell you is right now, silver is still a complete fire sale. And it's going to multiply the performance of gold. So when gold starts to accelerate to 4,000, like Andrew said, to 5,000, okay, silver is going to accelerate and multiply the performance of gold. And the true ratio roughly is, some people say it's 7, some people say it's 15, okay, to 1 gold to silver ratio. Let's just use an easy example of 50, okay, of 10, okay. Andrew said specifically $5,000, okay. So if the true ratio, the God ratio, for every time you mine gold, you pull it out of the ground, you get 1 ounce of gold, 10 ounces of silver. Let's just say it's 10-1, okay? That would mean that at $5,000 in a honest world of no price manipulation, silver should in fact be $500 an ounce at 10-1. So what I'm saying is that we're about to see God intervene. We're going to begin to see true price discovery like Andrew and I are talking about. And that's going to take numbers that are going to be mind-blowing. But again, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter the price. Like Andrew said, know the direction it's going. And I'll wrap it up with that. So Andrew, anything else you want to talk about ratios, and then we'll finish up with people being able to find you again.
Yeah, I just wanted to break down just the ratio that Bo talked about. So the ratio that we believe that we should be at is 10-1. That means for every ounce of gold you have, it should equal the spot value of 10 ounces of silver. So if we're looking at $5,000 gold, like Bo said, then that means that 10 ounces of silver should be $500 an ounce each, which equals the 5,000. I mean, it's certainly doable. $500 for 1 ounce of silver makes more sense to me than $1 million Bitcoin 8 or 9 years ago. And there were people 8-9 years ago that were saying, yeah, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million for 1 Bitcoin. It's going there. And nobody really argues that. I mean, some people do, but that's usually people that go the opposite way on everything so they can have followers on their channel. But really, people accept that Bitcoin could be $1 million for just one single Bitcoin because only 21 million exist. So if that can happen, why couldn't silver be $500 an ounce? Really think about that. It's silver's been stuck where it's at for a long time, and I think that that not just here in the United States, I think that the world has had enough, and that's why silver is going to achieve its true value. So let's get moving and reach out to us. We're not going to pressure you into doing anything that you don't want to, but we can provide you with the education so that you can make a good decision.
Andrew, I want to thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it. So Andrew's website is actually, let me just pop the website up here lastly. All I know is we are at the date that I've spoken about that's in scripture, Haggai 2. Today's the 24th day of the ninth month. I'm going to do my best job to get this video up like this afternoon as soon as possible. Do with this information as you will. Again, all of this world is about free will to do as I choose, as you wish. So again, I just truly hope people have listened to us over the years. I know many have, and everybody who Andrew now speaks with, all he gets is thank you, thank you, thank you, because everybody's in the positives. No one's in the red right now. So all I know is, from our heart, Andrew and I have done the right thing. We steer people, hopefully they've listened to us and they've done what we've been doing. And I know Andrew gets a lot of compliment phone calls from people all the time about how happy they are about what they've done. So again, Andrew, in closing, wrap us up and thank you so much for being here.
Reach out to us while you can still get it. We've got a lot of gold and silver here ready to ship. We'll pick up the phone on the weekends, holidays. We've got people here. Our response time is usually less than 24 hours.
Thanks again, Andrew. God bless you and your family. We'll see you again soon.